Hey, 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 party people. It's Brandi and Cesley, and we're back with Blooming Through Faith, the podcast that helps you grow and bloom in your mindset, lifestyle, health, and wealth. We want you to know that you are capable, beautiful, and worthy. Okay, today, Grow Girls, we are exploring the question, why not you? We want to talk about why stepping out of your comfort zone and reaching for those impossible dreams is essential if you want to live your fullest, most meaningful life. All right. So often we hold back fearing failure or the unknown. But what if taking those risks is exactly what's needed to experience true joy, growth, and purpose?
I love that. I love that so much. So, living a life of purpose isn't just about playing it safe. It's about courage, it's about vision, it's about willingness to push beyond your limits. So, when you allow yourself to dream big, you're tapping into like a whole different version of yourself. You're tapping into a version of yourself that's capable of more than you can imagine. By taking those steps, those brave steps of things that maybe make you uncomfortable, maybe things that you never believed that you thought you could do, not only are you growing, but you also inspire the people around you to think bigger and pursue their dreams too. And I want you to think about throughout this episode how many people are watching you and will be affected and impacted by you chasing your goals. So, we're going to talk about why it's worth it to take those big leaps of faith and how it can transform your life. So, the inspiration for this really came from a Major League Baseball player who is now just kind of a world renowned speaker. He goes around and he does speeches and workshops, and this is what he does full time. He's now a retired baseball player. And I got the opportunity this past week to listen to him and listen to him speak. And it was so impactful because it was such a simple question that really like rocked my world. He just said, "Why not you? Why shouldn't it be you?" And he had a whole story behind it, and I'll probably get into that later. Um, but I don't want to just talk about this in an abstract way. We're going to go through at the very end of this episode and really give you like actual things to think about, things to write down, things to workshop so that you can really think about the questions of like, why not me? And so what he really did was this was a Major League Baseball player who had like humble beginnings. He wasn't very big. He wasn't very tall. He wasn't very strong, but he did have a great mama. And I feel like that's important to note. He had a great mama who continuously said, like, well, if you want to, at 3 years old, 5 years old, you ask your kids, what do you want to be? They always say something big, right? Like, I want to be the president. Or I'm like, when I was 5, I think I wanted to be an artist. And my mother goes, God bless her. She's very sweet. She's an accountant. She has a very logical brain. She was like, artists don't make any money, honey. You can't be an artist. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, I guess I'm going to be something else then. But that when I was 5, I was like, I'm going to be an artist. That's what I want to be. And so when he was 5, he told his mom, I'm going to be a Major League Baseball player. And she goes, why not you? It has to be somebody. And so from that point on, that's where he came from. And he had coaches and people along the way who, when it came time to ask, well, who's going to be the best hitter this year? Who's going to lead the league? And he would always raise his hand because he was like, it's got to be somebody. It might as well be me. Even if he was the worst player on the team, he was like, I'm going to figure out. Now I've raised my hand. Now I've said, why not me? Now it's time for me to actually do the work and make it happen so that it actually is me. But it starts with that little question.
I love that. That's so good. So a few takebacks from that was first off, hearing his mother say, yeah, why not you? You can. And then he accomplished that. And then hearing your mother say, and bless you, we love you, mama. Hearing your mother say, yeah, well, probably not. They don't make much money. Like, let's dream a little bit bigger, right? And then you went a different route. And then all of a sudden you're like, okay, well, I guess I can't. And so there's so much power in
Mm.
words, right? And we've got to remember that with our children. And I know I've said this in a past episode, but it's like we should not put pressure on our children to become something that doesn't fill their heart and life with joy, right? I know Mitch Troy was at a point he was like, I want to be a garbage truck driver. And I was like, cool, babe, let's
Heck
go.
yeah. And I'm
Let's
pretty sure they also make a great, like when you're a kid, I think we think like garbage drivers don't make a lot of money or something like, because there was always this joke of like, you don't want to be a garbage man or whatever. And I'm like garbage men actually, they have full benefits and they make a great income and they're done with work by like 10 a.m. I'm like, I would like to be a
as
garbage
they
man too.
should because they're dealing with people's garbage. They should make a good living doing it. I love that. But also, like, what we're going to talk about is you guys and your dreams and why you're not taking risks. But on the note of children, if you are not taking risks and going after dreams and trying, your children are going to see that you're scared and you don't take risk, and we're going to just live in this comfort zone, and we're just going to have a 9 to 5, and we're just going to color in between the lines, and we're just not going to live a life full of possibilities and dreams because my parents are. So like Cecily said at the beginning, guys, like, you've got to be mindful of who's watching, especially your little ones. Okay, so why am I not going for it? What is the risk, right? So think like, why am I thinking that way? Well, taking risks, especially after trauma, is deeply rooted in our brains as a natural response to protect us from further harm. All right. So it's easier and safer to stay in our box. Trauma can rewire our brains to perceive new challenges as potential threats, leading to a heightened sense of caution or even feeling paralyzed when faced with opportunities for growth. Does that make sense, guys? Like, we're thinking, oh my gosh, no, I can't do that. This response often stems from the part of the brain responsible for fear, which becomes overactive in those who have experienced trauma. All right, that's important to note, right? Essentially, the brain is trying to prevent us from feeling similar pain or disappointment again. Trauma can alter our self belief and our self worth, making it harder to imagine ourselves achieving big dreams. We might internalize the idea that we're not good enough or that failure is inevitable, creating a self fulfilling cycle where we hesitate to act because we're afraid of reinforcing that negative belief. Right? Here's the thing, guys, is like, failure might happen, but you don't know if you don't try. And then you learn from that failure. The only way to fail is to not start or to fall down and not get back up, right? The subconscious mind may also associate any form of vulnerability, including the vulnerability that comes with pursuing a dream, with danger.
That's really good and very sciencey. And I love that you just threw all that down. Okay. Because, a lot of us are coming from a point of experiencing trauma. And I don't think we make the connection that we play it safe because we've experienced trauma. Like, I don't think I've ever thought of it that way, except for recently. But we've talked about this before. We've talked about perceived danger and actual, like, physical, real danger. And I think once you've been through so much physical, real, actual danger, everything in your body turns into this fight or flight protective mode. And so just you thinking about the risks that come with pursuing a dream, your brain can actually become your worst enemy, because your brain can literally be like, nope, nope, danger. That will be dangerous. We're not going to do that. It reminds me of that movie. What's that movie? Inside Out? Is that what it's called? With all the little emotions?
Oh, yeah, I never watched that
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah. Oh, my daughter from the other room just said, yeah, it's called Inside Out. Just listen to everything I want you guys to know. Yeah. So all these little emotions that live inside this girl's brain are supposed to protect her, but they end up actually, like, causing her more harm than good, because they're like, we have to protect her from sadness. We have to protect her from anxiety. When really it's like, at the end, they discover that she needs all these emotions and they all make her who she is, and she has to actually live them all out. It'll make you cry if you're a mom, just so you know. But I like to think of this children's movie when I think about that, because I'm like, I am not in danger. I just am not willing to take the risk. Like, you have to tell yourself that, like, I'm not in danger. Taking a risk will not kill me. It might work, it might not. So that really leads into our next question that we want to ask you, which is, what excuses am I making? Like, let's just be real. What excuses am I making to not chase my dreams? When Brandi asked the question, why not me? Something immediately came to your mind as to the thing that you're not doing. What excuses are you making? I mean, there's a whole list, and I'm going to go through some of them just because I want you to trigger in your mind, like, oh, I make that excuse. Yeah. So, first one, I don't have enough time. That's an excuse. All right. We all have time. Think about the amount of hours that you're awake in a day. So I'm not good at math, but I'm going to try this. So if I wake up really early. So I'm going to say the average person. The average person wakes up what? Like, they go to work, they wake up maybe 6:30 in the morning. Okay. You go to 9:30 at night, 7:30, 8:30, 9:30. Therefore, that's like 17 hours that you're awake. I didn't actually completely do the math because I feel like that would be weird, but it's about 17 hours, I'm going to think. Maybe 16. You have 17 hours in your day. You have plenty of time to do the things you're doing, right? That's a full day. However, a lot of times we don't balance things well. So you have to stop and take a look and go, am I making the excuse that I don't have enough time? Because what am I doing that are fillers in my day? If I went to look at my screen time on Instagram and TikTok, how many hours do I actually spend in between things just doing that? Like stuff like that. Next question is, or next excuse is, I'm sorry, I'm not ready or I'm not good enough. Self-doubt, perfectionism, it's going to just create a cycle of waiting for the perfect moment. Have you ever heard those people who say, well, we're waiting for the perfect time to have kids? It's never going to happen because your life's always going to be too peaceful.
There's no moment, there's no perfect time.
Oh,
It's never going to get less busy. It's never going to be
yeah.
better. Like you just have to jump in and make it happen.
Yeah, 100%. A lot of times we say it's too risky, it's too unrealistic. Maybe for the current life you're living, right? Your dream might be really unrealistic if you've put yourself in this padded little house of like, well, I'm comfortable in this space. I don't ever have to think about what might happen tomorrow. I'm not worried about if this will work out or not. Then yeah, it's probably risky. Big dreams are risky and unrealistic. That's kind of what they're defined by. Like you don't have to have stability or predictability. My favorite example of this is when you're really little, like you don't worry that your parents are going to feed you, right? You know that food is going to come. But when we get older, we always
And all the
fear,
time. And
yeah,
all the
all the
time.
time. Like my daughter's not worried.
Snack.
Yeah.
I'm hungry. I'm hungry. I'm hungry.
Hungry, want food. My daughter's not worried that like she's not gonna have breakfast tomorrow, right? Like she's not like, oh my gosh, what if I don't get fed? Like she doesn't freak out about that. But we think that, like, what if I do this thing and then my family goes into peril? That's really not going to happen. Like God is our provider. He always provides. You always have provision. You're just delaying your dreams. Couple other excuses can be like, my family needs me. I don't have the resources. What if others judge me, right? All of these excuses can be transformed with a shift of perspective and a commitment to actually make the space for your personal dreams. It's all it takes is just a changing to say, no, I'm going to commit to my personal dreams. A good example of this is, have you ever thought back, if you were in sports, you probably had great coaches and you probably had bad coaches. And the bad coaches always kind of said, well, that's not your position. You're not very good at that. Right. But then there are those coaches who said, oh, you want to play that position? Okay, here are the things you need to do to get there. I'm going to help you. Like they are realistic, but there's people that believe in you. And then there's people that are just like, that's probably not realistic. Like, that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah,
That's
no,
it.
I love that so much. And I'm gonna go back to like my family needs me with women. So many times they lose who they are when they're in the trenches of motherhood. And that is so sad, right? And like when you are fulfilling your dreams and like your purpose on this earth, you are a better mom. You are a better wife, right? You have fire, you have passion, you have energy when you're taking care of yourself, right? We talk about self-care. It's the same thing here. When you're following your dreams and things that light your soul on fire, you're going to show up better in your household. But if you are not, if you're just, living a job that you are trying to pay the bills, or you're a stay-at-home mom and you don't have any time for you or your passions, you're losing yourself and being a mom, you're literally doing yourself and your family a disservice. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, let's do like
Wait, can I say one more thing on that? This is kind of a tangent, but it's kind of about what you were saying, but it really made me think of this example. And this is not about necessarily a big thing, but y'all, this applies to like small things in your life too. So I had this epiphany this past year. I became I've been a trainer for a long time, but I became a trainer with the fitness company I'm with now about 11 years ago. Okay. So I was in my early 20s when I started with this company. I then transitioned into pretty much just wearing fitness attire all the time because that's my profession. I wear fitness clothes. That's all I do. Before that, I was just a mom. I was a brand new mom of small kids. And any of you listening who is a mom of small kids, we don't have personal style. Okay. You're trying to dress your kids. You're trying to stay alive. Like you will wear whatever you can put on your body that it doesn't give you sensory overload. I'm just gonna like as a new mom. So I realized at like 35 years old, now you all know how old I am. At 35 years old, I didn't have a personal sense of style. I looked in my closet and everything is something I had bought for an event or for a work thing or that I had had for 10 plus years since my children were born. And I told my husband, I said, okay, I'm gonna go out and buy all new clothes and I don't want to hear a single word about it. And he didn't say anything about it because he's my husband and he loves me. But I literally was like, I'm going and buying all new clothes. I don't know what I even like to wear. And I went out and I went shopping and I went online over the course of several days and actually found like I picked out only things I loved, not things that were on sale, not things that I needed or that were realistic, but only things that I was like, I freaking love this and I would wear it every day and feel like the best human alive. And it's in that same vein that we don't think as moms that we deserve. Like, even so, something simple as personal style, Brandi was saying, as moms, you lose yourself. Like, I had totally lost my personal sense of style. I had no, and that affected my self confidence. I had no idea what I even liked. And that can be the same question of why not me? Why don't I deserve to have things that I love and that make me feel good? I think as moms, we really don't give ourselves that question of why not me. So it was kind of along the lines of what you were saying, but it made me think about that.
I love that. And I love that for you. Mitch would be like, no, you're not.
Oh, I was heated. I was like, I don't have a single thing in my closet that I love. You're better about that though. If you see something you love, you will get it. I really am like, no, I don't need
Yeah,
it.
no, I am definitely better. Yeah. Yeah, but that's the problem.
I
Anyways,
have changed.
I donated a lot of clothes, so I don't feel so bad about all the clothes I have in my closet. All right, guys.
Yeah.
So why not me? This is a powerful shift for women because it challenges limiting beliefs and opens up the possibility that they too, just like Cecily was saying, deserve success, joy, fulfillment, right? This question reframes self-doubt, transforming it from I could never do that to, well, if others have achieved this, why can't I? That is so big. It empowers women to see themselves as capable, worthy, and just as deserving of their dreams as anyone else. All right. So here's the deal, guys. I love and Cecily loves, we love helping people live in their purpose and fulfill their dreams. And I feel like in those business that I have going on right now, like and talking about risk. So I'm gonna get a little personal, right? So I was with the fitness company that Cecily was with. That's how we met. I was working a lot of hours. I was making really good income. When I wanted to leave that company to just do social retail online and be a better mom and have more time and financial freedom, Mitch was like, absolutely not. Just like, no, we can't lose that income. And I'm like, well, I don't want to lose myself anymore. And I want to be a better wife to you. And yeah, I get that, blah, blah. And I was like, well, I'm going to take the risk. And I did it. And yeah, my income dramatically went down because I had two incomes at the time, but my life went up. Who I am as a woman, the amount of lives I was able to impact, and then, just being with my family was great. I took that risk and it worked. Now, then I was able to build that business. That was great. And guess what I just did? Cecily, I just took another risk and I left that other company that I was with. I was making six figures. I was helping a lot of people. And you know what Mitch said? He's like, okay. He's like, well, you did it.
Like, well, it worked the first time. Why not?
First time, let's do it. And when I tell you, I could cry. We've been launching this new company. I have not had a paycheck for 3.5, 4 months. I've been living on faith and where God has directed me. And the amount of lives that I've been able to impact in this new company is quadruple, duple what I was in the last. Okay. And it's not about me winning. It's about seeing women win. It is about women saying, well, you know what? I can't do that. She can. And then they're like, wait a second. Yes, I can. And they're like, oh my gosh, I'm winning. Helping hundreds and hundreds of women win because they believed in themselves and they jumped in and they tried. So why not you guys? That is what we're talking about. Why not you? So you got to, first off, you have to identify these limiting beliefs. Okay. So recognize any negative self-talk or excuses that come up. Like we've talked about in the past, you have to replace these with affirmations that support growth, such as I am capable. Or, you know what? I do have something unique to offer. A lot of times we say, maybe you have a passion for making cups or making t-shirts. And you think to yourself, oh my gosh, it's all over TikTok and it's all over Etsy and I can't do it. I'm not going to be successful. People aren't going to want what I have. Bullshit. Yes, they will. There are millions of people in this world. Go for it, girl. Take that like mind frame and say there's not enough. I'm not going to be capable, and say, yes, I am. I'm going to have something so stinking unique and people are going to love it. And I'm going to find success in this, right? Believe in yourself a little bit more. Next, visualize your success. What does this look like? Spend time vividly imagining what achieving your dreams would look and feel like. This helps make the goal feel real and reinforces the belief that it's attainable. Now, for me, I've always wanted, here's a dream that I've never told anybody, Cecily, which, sometimes you don't tell people dreams because if they don't come true, you kind of feel like a loser, right? And so I didn't tell anybody this, but except for Mitch, because it was our dream together. So our dream was always to buy land and to build a home. And my father and his father, they were both had construction companies. That's how Mitch and I met. We met when we were kids. So our fathers owned construction companies. My dad has since not, but his father still has it going, and Mitch still works for his father's construction company. So my dream is to build our forever home and have our dads, before they pass, and have Mitch build some of the home. I'm not saying they have to do all of it, okay? Because they might be retired by then because his dad's
They can do all of it. Let's dream big. You can do it. We're not.
How cool is that to have a house built by love by the people you love? That is a big dream of mine. So back to visualizing it. Visualize that. What does the house look like? We have a front porch. Yes, I'm in a rocking chair on the front porch.
I love it.
Yes, I'm drinking my coffee. Yes, I'm watching the kids play, right? So I'm visualizing that. That's really important. What does that look like? Right? And then take small steps consistently. Starting small makes goals more manageable and builds momentum, creating a pattern of action and accomplishment. What are you doing today to get you to where you want to be tomorrow? So what does that look like for my dream? Let's just say that. What does that look like for my dream? It looks like we're paying off debt, right? It looks like we're saving. It looks like we have a little account for that, right? What is to buy land in the future, because that is our dream. So what action items can I take every day? And yes, that also looks like showing up hard and helping people and impacting lives through work to earn income to be able to do that. All right. So what we really want you guys to do is think, why not me? We've said it here before. We all have a purpose. What is your purpose? What is your mission? What sets your soul on fire? And freaking go after it. All right. Sorry. I got on like a tangent.
I like it. I love it. Because I want some more of it. Okay. I think it's great because I think so many people, especially women, we're so scared to dream big because if it doesn't work, we're afraid of, just like all those excuses we mentioned, we're afraid that people are going to judge us. We're afraid that it's going to be silly. I mean, you even just said it, like we're afraid that people are going to think, oh, that didn't work. But at the end of the day, like we're all just a little too self-focused to be worried about whether or not your dream worked. Like we're all living in our own worlds. I promise you, people are not sitting around thinking about you. We are our own favorite topic. Like we really are as people. We love to talk about ourselves. We love to think about ourselves. People are not worried about what you're doing. There is only one you on the entire planet. We cannot stress enough that God has uniquely created you for the time you're in. I mean, the Bible specifically says this, you were made for such a time as this. And I think we kind of think about that as a really cavalier thing, but like God didn't make you 100 years ago, 50 years ago, 20 years ago. He built you now. You can even think about your career like Brandi, even thinking about her career in terms of social retail and the big risks she's taken. If she was born 10 years ago, her dreams wouldn't exist. Like this culture, this environment where she could build this business wouldn't even exist. And she's impacted so many women because of it. You were built for such a time as this. So stop thinking that you can't do something because someone else is already doing it, because there's only one you. And if you're being obedient, just like Brandi was obedient, she trusted God and she took this risk and she prayed about it. And she, God confirmed this for her. And because of it, God has given her provision in this. Like he didn't just leave her out to dry in the wilderness and be like, oh, well, good luck with that. Like he's proven, but it took faith. Like, hello, 3-4 months without a paycheck. She did. She totally was like, well, we're all up. We're going to this other company. We're starting over. We're launching something brand new. And I'm being honest, when she told me that, I was like, oh, we are. Well, this is what's happening. And she was like, yep, taking the risk. And we said in the very beginning of this episode, the risks you take inspire other people. Do you think that half these women would look up to her and believe in her and follow her and trust her if she didn't take these big risks? Because they're looking at her saying, she did it. Look at her. I can do it too. So we're gonna do a little workshopping. All right. If you're driving or something, don't do this right now. Okay. But at some point, pause this episode, come back to it. I want you to think about these things. So right now, I want you to think about 3 things right now that you consider strengths in yourself. It's probably going to be harder than you think. We can probably list out, if I said, think of 3 things you'd like to change about yourself, I think you could do it in an instant, right? But if I say, I want you to think about 3 strengths that you would bring to something that only you can bring. So like for me, I'm not super organized. I'm not going to lie. That's not a strength that I would write down, but I know that I'm passionate and I know that I'm really positive and I know that I love being in leadership of others. Those are 3 things that I know that I bring to something that someone else could not bring in the same way that I do. So I want you to think about 3 things that you believe are strengths of yours. And then I want you to write down 5 to 6 goals for yourself. These can be small goals. These can even be like vision for yourself as to what you want your life to look like. So it can be something as simple as, I want to spend more time with my kids. I want to make enough income to stay home. Maybe that's not it. I'm just thinking about I'm giving you my personal ones that I can think of off the top of my head. I want to have enough time in my life to exercise, be outside, and be healthy every single day, right? I want to be debt-free. These are all things that are personal goals that I can write down for myself, right? So one, and we're going to put this in the episode summary so you can easily like copy and paste this, take a screenshot. But what are your strengths? 5 to 6 goals for yourself and give examples. Like, what does it look like to be debt free, right? Like, what does it look like for you to spend more time with your kids? Is it an hour more a day? Is it being at home full time? What is it for you? And then I want you to write down underneath each of these goals what you can feasibly do right now, weekly, maybe it's daily, maybe it's weekly, maybe it's monthly, to move towards these goals. And then you're going to actually take out your calendar. And I want you to time block that time out in your calendar for yourself. So we're not like, Brandi and I are not crazy people. We're not people that say, quit your job tomorrow and chase your dream without any plan. Believe in yourself. Say, why not? Throw caution to the wind. Like, that's not who we are. We're saying dream big and then figure out what it's going to take to get there. Write it down so you keep yourself accountable. Okay. That's what we want you to do. So we want you to remember, when you allow yourself to dream big, you tap into a version of yourself that's capable of so much more than you can imagine. I want you to start to ask yourself the question, why not you? And step into what you already know you are capable of. You are beautiful, you are capable, you are worthy, and we can't wait to watch you grow, girl.